The horse and snake knights just became way easier to get on Pick-a-Brick, so I've made over 40 custom minifigures to show off some good part combinations and hopefully give you some ideas for building your own figures. Starting off, I made a couple leader type figures for each faction. For the horse knights, I made these two. The first has this charismatic and regal knight look, and I especially love how the side plumes look with the helmet. I also added a white comma to help him stand out from the rest of the army. The second one uses this decorated Rohan helmet, and I'll probably make him the leader of my cavalry since that style fits the horse knights perfectly. Unfortunately, they don't actually have official horse barding since the original set used brick-built horses, but one option is this older barding from the ninja line. Sadly, it's pretty rare and I'm not a huge fan of the black, so I'll probably just stick with standard saddles unless something better comes out. For the snake knights, I put together these two leaders. This one somewhat mirrors the first horse knight's design with a visor helmet and side plumes, although sadly I didn't have a full-sized yellow cape on hand, but I'll definitely be grabbing some in the future for this faction. The other leader has a simpler design using some CMF Fright Knight parts, and I really like the clean but armored look. One nice thing about the snake knights is that they actually have a fantastic barding option in the Kingdom's Joust Falcon Knight barding. It's expensive, but it works incredibly well with their color scheme. I don't always include magic users in my armies, but I really should because they're just too cool not to. For the horse knights, I made a couple of clerics that fit really well into the regal, polished look that I was going for. The first one uses the front of the Dragon Paladin torso combined with Princess Leia's dress piece, and it's absolutely perfect for this figure. The other one uses the back of the Dragon Paladin torso along with the Horse Knight King's legs, although I swapped in the Paladin hips to avoid the double belt look. I also added this cool collar piece, and I'm really happy with how both of these turned out. For the Snake Knights, I went in a completely different direction and made a Snake Cultist Sorcerer. I had a few Anacondri cultists from Ninjago and decided to combine them with the Snake Knights as a sort of subgroup of the faction. I'll show the rest of them in a bit, but first let's take a look at some more basic soldiers. For the Horse Knights, I experimented a bit with black hands to match the belt, and it doesn't look bad, but I think I prefer them a bit more armored. I used the new mustache from Pick-a-Brick on this guy, and it looks absolutely fantastic. For this Snake Knight Spearman, I kept the original torso and legs, but upgraded them with arms from the Mind Flayer. I'm a big fan of printed arms, and these matched really well. I made another Spearman using the Tax Collector torso with Tiefling Sorcerer legs, and I like the combo for lighter armored Snake Knights. The only real downside is the gold accents as opposed to the silver on the original Snake Knight torso, but at the end of the day, it's Lego, and perfect matches aren't always possible. Moving into some slightly heavier armored troops, I made a few men-at-arms for each faction. I like to keep these guys less armored than full heavy infantry to actually show off some of the torso prints. For the Horse Knights, I made one using the Horse King torso and hips as the base, swapping in Dragon Paladin arms and legs. The whites don't quite match, but the Horse Knight hips are great for giving Paladin legs a proper belt. Next, this one uses the Griffin Knight torso with Dragon Paladin arms and legs, although I avoided the Horse Knight hips here to prevent the double belt look. Honestly, this is probably the best castle torso we've gotten in a long time, and I'm really excited for the rest of mine from Pick-a-Brick to arrive. The last one combines the backprint of a 2013 Lion Knight torso with the Horse King legs, and ideally I'd give all these guys white or blue Mando capes from Capes for Minifigs, but I haven't made a big order from them yet, and I misplaced the blue one I bought a while ago. For the Snake Knights, I kept the original torso and legs for all three men-at-arms and just experimented with different arm options. One uses Mind Flayer arms with flat silver hands to give them a heavier armored look. Another uses plain flat silver arms for a really clean and simple design, and I love how well the silver matches the printing around the neck. For the last one, I used Dragon Paladin arms to help tie together the gold accents from some of my other Snake Knights with the silver on the torso. I know these arms might be a bit overused, but I honestly just love how they look. On a side note, I'm really glad LEGO made the Dragonborn Paladin keychain since it makes the arms so much easier to get. For even heavier units, I tried out a few different breastplates and made some heavy infantry for each faction. One of the Horse Knights uses a Rohan helmet with the Series 19 Fright Knight breastplate, and the copper accents aren't perfect, but it's still a solid option. The other uses the Series 9 Heroic Knight breastplate, which is absolutely fantastic for the Horse Knights since the white accents work so well with their color scheme. The Horse King legs also work nicely here as a decorated but armored option for a higher ranking knight. For the Snake Knights, I made one heavy infantryman using the Series 7 Evil Knight armor and legs as the base, once again pairing it with the Mind Flayer arms. The black and silver on both match up really nicely, and the purple cape helps tie it all together. The other one uses the purple and yellow Danju breastplate combined with the CMF Fright Knight legs, and it looks cool, but I'll admit that all the colors together might be a bit much. Moving on to ranged units, I made a couple of archers and a crossbowman for the Horse Knights, using a mix of 2013 Lion Knight parts along with Falconer and Horse Knight legs. You could absolutely use the Horse Knight legs on all of them, but I prefer lighter armored legs for archers. They look good overall, although I'd love to see more leg prints that continue alternate tabard colors like the Raven Knight legs did. For the crossbowman, I kept the design pretty simple, but the white Mando cape really helps tie him into the Horse Knight color scheme. Going back to the Snake Knights, I also made two archers and a crossbowman. The first one uses a longbow and an all-black color scheme for a more menacing look, although he doesn't feel super Snake Knight specific without any purple or yellow. The second archer uses the Lamalier Viking torso with a sneaky masked face print, and I added Huntress arms which really work well with the purple cape. For the crossbowman, I used a chainmail torso with Tiefling Sorcerer arms. Ideally, I'd use a yellow or purple Mando cape here, but I just don't have either at the moment. The Horse Knights as a whole look fantastic, but their biggest standout when it comes to customization is probably their flat silver legs with a white tabard. They're incredibly versatile and can work with just about any faction that uses white in its color scheme. I showed earlier how good they look with the 2013 Lion Knight torsos, but they also look absolutely fantastic with my old favorite faction, the Kingdom's Red Lions. I'm definitely regretting buying so many Lion Queen legs for them now. I tried using white hips to avoid the double belt look, but all three whites were surprisingly significantly different, so I'd rather just keep the extra belt. I'll probably stick with the Lion Queen legs for archers and crossbowmen, but I'm definitely going to use the Horse Knight legs for light infantry. Another faction that benefits a lot from these legs is the Knights Kingdom Royal Knights. They're not a faction I care a ton about, but these legs are a fantastic upgrade if you want to give them a more modern look. I may have to revisit building some figures for them at some point. There's even more factions you can use Horse Knight parts for, like the Blue Dragons or Crusader Lion Knights, but enough about those. Let's talk about the Snake Knight parts. The Snake Knight parts aren't quite as versatile because purple isn't a super common LEGO castle color, but they're far from useless. Outside of the small purple accents, the color scheme and overall look are actually pretty neutral, which makes them great for generic or factionless knights. I made one figure by combining the torso and legs with CMF Rockstar arms, and honestly, the patterns work incredibly well together. Pearl Dark Gray looks nice with the Snake Knight parts, but unless it gets cheaper, I'm sticking to primarily black for their helmets. Purple can also work nicely for a fancy one-off champion style knight, so I experimented with making a Black Falcon champion using the Snake Knight torso and legs. I prefer a bit more uniformity for my Black Falcon's color scheme, but this still looks good and could work as a solid budget option for a unique character. Probably the most obvious combination is using Danju's parts from Knights Kingdom 2 with the Snake Knight parts. I already used some of the sigil-less breastplates for the Snake Knights themselves, but there's also this really nice one with a wolf on it that I plan on building an entire faction around once I can get some of the shields that go with it. There's also this Pegasus shield that was added to Pick-a-Brick fairly recently, and the Snake Knight parts pair surprisingly well with it. I made this Pegasus Knight using gold arms and a visor, and she honestly looks fantastic. I probably won't build a full Pegasus faction unless I can get the shields for cheaper, but it's still a cool option. Earlier I mentioned a group of snake cultists allied with the Snake Knights, so here's what I have for them so far. There's the shaman from earlier, an assassin using mostly the original Anacondri cultist parts paired with a mohawk. Then there's this more generic cultist using fierce barbarian legs with this awesome head from Crux, and I also made two more armored warriors, one using a Githyanki warlock head and the other using a wide mix of various CMF parts parts, along with this sick looking bone armor. I gave both of them snake shields, and even though their torsos are yellow to match their skin tone, I don't think the yellow shields look out of place. I definitely want to expand this group and really lean into the idea of them worshipping some kind of snake god, because they already look absolutely sick. I just need to spend more time developing the lore and pick up a few more of the original Ninjago parts. Speaking of lore, I haven't done a ton for the royalty of either faction. I don't think my Snake Knights will have a traditional royal structure at all, since I want to lean into those weird cult vibes and also make them more like a mercenary band rather than a traditionally structured army. For the Horse Knights, I've made some basic upgrades to the original king, but I'll probably redesign him completely in the future and build out a full royal family along with various advisors and nobles. One other new part from the Horse Knight castle that I haven't talked about yet is the blacksmith torso, so I wanted to make a few figures using that as well. The first is a simple peasant using the falconer legs and a blue forestman hat, and it's not the best peasant torso Legos ever made, but it's still solid, especially now that the medieval town square torsos are retired from Pick-a-Brick. The other two figures are a pair of adventurers. One has a more roguish look, and I matched the dark red on the torso with this hood. The other one uses pirate quartermaster arms to give him a short sleeved look, and I combined the dual molded legs with Horse Knight hips. He looks good overall, although the color mismatch on the legs does bug me a bit. These are still early drafts, but I'm excited to expand both of these into full factions. Let me know in the comments which figure was your favorite, and if you want to see them fully built out or want to see a similar style video for the Griffin and Kraken Knights, make sure you're subscribed. As always, thank you for watching.